this concept of fear I bring in because I think that people, we tend to think that our beliefs, whatever they are the right beliefs. If I didn't think that, I would change my beliefs. I have changed some of my beliefs. Now they are set. And now I'm going to protect them egocentrically, and I'm going to protect them sociocentrically. And this is common for people. Now, when I work with people in groups, in, let's say, a study group or in a course focused on self-actualization, where we're really focused on self-development, and we're getting into the dirt, so to speak, of ourselves. You know, in the beginning, people are often very excited about it. They see the theory is valuable and they can see ways in right away, and they like this activity and they like that one. And after the second, and on the second meeting, there's a lot of feeling of lowness and like I'm depressed because people come in with that feeling. I'm feeling like I can't believe I've never figured this out before. It's just so obvious. How could I have been so stupid all of this time? Now, this is going on in their egocentric minds and often not stated.
Right.
But in this meeting, it's coming out and I'm seeing it, and people are fearing seeing their belief system, their beliefs, because for one, their identity is connected to their beliefs. So I've always thought this way. You're telling me that 30 years of teaching and 30 years of teaching, I've never figured this out, or in 30 years of being on the police force, or 30 years as a psychologist, or 30 years as anything. And now you're telling me, or actually the theory is forcing people to see these parts of themselves. And what I think is very sad is that people can't get past that very first feeling of ugliness within yourself. Like you just sort of can't stand yourself if you have to face this about yourself.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to just say, yeah, okay, I sort of get it, but I've got a lot to do right now, and this is a fun course. Maybe I'll pick it up later. And I've seen this again and again and again, where people they fear critical thinking.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's and I agree with what you're saying completely. I would phrase it in a little different way, in that when my ego is at stake in such a deep way, I would say there's a genuine danger confronting me. All right. And that is, my whole identity is built on being this kind of person. And then to confront the idea that I may not be entirely that kind of person, or not that kind of person to the extent that I've always assumed I was. When that moment hits me, and that's a moment that recurs many times, I don't have some other identity to call on to rescue me, because if my identity shatters, it's as if there's nothing left. And so confidence and reason comes in, but even that, the confidence and reason is something like, well, I think this will work out, or I hope this will work out, or I'll find some substitute by being rational or clear, or thinking more clearly, or loving more deeply, or finding meaning in something else. But at that moment, which might be a prolonged moment again, my identity is falling apart, and what am I going to do without any identity? It's not. So I'd say it's an actual danger that I confront.
So this is it's as if it were a crisis in your mind. Notice I didn't say it is a crisis. I said it is as if it were.
Right.
It feels colossal.
It does.
You have to give up some of your beliefs.
Yeah.
When you're resisting egocentrically.
Yes.
And now this relates to the stages of critical thinking development. We are mainly unreflective thinkers. That is, people are mainly not thinking about their thinking. They're mainly not reflecting upon their thinking in a routine way, because this is the way that the human mind works, and we're not learning the tools of criticality
Mm-hmm.
human groups in any kind of broad way.
Mm-hmm.
So people are mainly unreflective thinkers. That doesn't mean they're bad thinkers. Doesn't mean they're good thinkers. It means they're not thinking about their thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So we come to we come to challenge thinker stage.
Mm-hmm.
We have some introduction somewhere under some conditions to the idea that maybe my thinking is not perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and so at that point, that's where, not immediately, now we go to beginning thinker when we've taken up that challenge. But it's at the challenge thinker stage that we face this crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I can tell, mainly people don't get past the challenge thinker stage. They can't handle the crisis.
Right.
And it's, as I say, it's very sad, because it's a homemade crisis. You're making it up. There's not a real crisis. Well, maybe if changing your thinking feels like a crisis to you, but it's not actually this colossal bad experience. It's mainly facing that you are wrong.
Right.
That you could be wrong, and being all right with that.
Yeah. Though to me, it also depends on what exactly you're finding yourself wrong about, and what actions you take as a result. People who have been married for 15 or 20 years and who realize that a big mistake they made was marrying this person and living with that person. And now with intellectual courage, I face the fact that I need to get a divorce. I'd say that could be a real crisis, because I don't know what will follow after that. So, but notice that's not just the thinking or examining, it's also an action based on that thinking and examining. So once I take the step toward getting divorced, I don't have a fallback position at hand, or I may not have a fallback position at hand. Yeah. So it's not quite just of my making. I'd say it is a product of my own making, but I've been making this for the last 15 years. So it's not as just that I've thought through it at this moment.
Well, you see, it depends on how we define crisis.
Yeah.
So to me, the crisis was a lot earlier in this example that you give.
Mm-hmm.
Crisis is the marriage.
Right.
Getting out of it is not
Mm-hmm.
the crisis, but it feels like it, because you don't know what's going to happen next. Well, that's just not knowing what's going to happen next in life. In theory, change is also part of intellectual cowardice, or the opposite of intellectual courage.